My name's Randy Prince. I'm with Metal Fab Livestock Solutions. We're here with the Drag Queen Arena Drag. We're going to do an instructional video on how to set up this drag and how to run it. We've sold several of these in the past couple of years, and every now and then we get phone calls, people asking how do you set it up, how do you get it to do different things, and so that's the purpose in this video today, is basically to show you how to set it up on your tractor and what to do with it. This drag is extremely easy to operate if you'll set it down and just let it work like it's supposed to. We're going to go through quite a few basic things on this drag first, and then we'll get into how to set it up on your tractor. First of all, this drag, we've got the ripper points on the front, we've got cultivator points, and then we've got a harrow section followed in with the roller and the leveling bar in the back. A lot of people that, let's say they rope calves and they don't want their ground extremely deep, or they've got real sandy ground, a lot of people will take these ripper points and flip them up out of the way. Just simply put the pin back in and flip the ripper back over. If you don't want to use them, if they're cutting too deep, you can flip them over and get them out of the way, and only use these set of points. They'll cut about 4 inches deep. They keep a good flat base, but if you're a calf roper or hunter jumper where you don't want your ground extremely deep, you can take these out of the way and only use your cultivator points in the back. The first thing I want to add on the ripper points on the front, we've got a hairpin that holds these on. When you put these on, don't go to the middle hole, the middle loop on the hairpin like you normally would. Go ahead and push that all the way down, and that'll keep a dirt clod from hitting this pin and knocking it back out. So we run it all the way to the loop section on the hairpin. 99% of the ground that I drag and that we do for barrel races or ropings, I run on we got 3 sets of holes on this tooth. I run in the second hole on 99% of the places we go. It's a rare occasion that I need to get into the third hole for the extra depth. Most of the time it's just the second hole is 100% sufficient for wherever we go. Alright, the main thing on this drag is the angle that you set the main frame. You change this angle with your top link on your tractor. We sell an optional hydraulic top link. We do have the hydraulic cylinder right here that we sell on all of our drags. Some people, if you're doing a barrel race, you can also get a second cylinder to go in position of your top link on your tractor. Not necessarily needed, but it is handy if you're doing a lot of barrel races and you want to change that angle real fast. And if you have 2 remotes on the back of your tractor, you can also put another hydraulic cylinder here. What we do when we're doing just a standard drag, and I'm talking about typically barrel racing to where we're dragging every 5 to every 10 horses. The main frame of the drag, when it's operating, we want it tilted back just a little bit. So the first thing I do when I go to a barrel race, when I hook it up to a tractor, I'll set the drag down on the ground and adjust that angle back. When the drag starts operating, of course the teeth will go on down into the ground a little bit deeper, but this angle stays laid back. What that does, it allows me to use the hydraulic cylinder to control the depth on this drag. The most important feature that this drag has is the cylinder and is the roller. And I can't stress that enough on this drag. You take your 3-point hitch on your tractor, drop it all the way down into float mode. This drag is not designed to where you have to use your 3-point hitch to control your depth. What controls the depth on this drag is the cylinder and the roller in the back. If you push down on the roller, it will raise your teeth out of the ground. If you raise up on the roller, it lets these teeth go down. But when you set it, you pretty much forget it. Set it down, You can, if you want these teeth cutting 6 inches deep, drop them in 6 inches. If you want them 4 inches deep, you control that right here. If you're making drags and you're getting to the end and you're wanting to sit and do a hard turn, naturally sometimes you may want to pick up on your 3-point hitch to avoid making a swirl right there in your arena. But you can pick up, spin around, drop it right back down, and that way your depth is consistent all the way through. That's one great feature of this drag. You do not ride your 3-point hitch. One thing I stress to everybody, the roller in the back, this is your gauge wheel. This drag doesn't need tires on the back to keep you from loading up and digging in. This wheel keeps the drag flattened out left to right, but it also keeps you from digging into the ground and making a mess. By putting your tractor into float, you can drive as fast as you want to go. When you come around the backside of a barrel, you don't have to worry about the drag getting in too deep, making a hole. It will grab the high spots and lay it right back into the low spot. But you don't ever, I can't stress that enough, don't use your 3-point hitch to control your depth. All right, what we're going to show, first we're going to show how we set it up to do a deep drag, and then how we set it up to do a finish drag. First thing I do when I go somewhere, I'll get it set up to my angle to where I like how it's finishing. And let's say I'm going to do a barrel race. I'm on a brand new tractor that I've never hooked this drag up to. When I get ready to do a big drag, say every 50 or every 100 horses, we're going to take the front section of this drag and tilt it forward just a little bit. That's going to let these rippers, you can get all the way to the frame and go as deep as you want to go. So what I do to keep it simple and to keep it easy, I will count the number of turns on the top link on the tractor that it takes to get to the angle that I want. So typically on this tractor, on this top link, it's going to take me about 8 full turns on my top link to get to what I call ripping depth. So what I do, I check that on each tractor I go to. So I'm set up good for a finish drag. I'm going to count the number of turns that it takes. That way when it's time for you to do a big drag, it doesn't take you long at all. All you got to do is step off, turn your top link, make your adjustment, go ahead and do your big drags, and then when you get ready to do a finish drag, tilt it right back out to where you started from and drive. One thing on this drag, the faster you pull it, the better it works. When this drag is in the proper adjustment, you will see the harrow teeth, the dirt flowing through the harrow teeth. The roller will catch the dirt. It'll throw a kind of a rooster tail out of the back of the roller. When you see that, you know that you're firming back up on your base, but your top is going to be fluffy. What I'd like to do on ground, and I know across the country ground is different from one state to the next, from one arena to the next. It's all different, but in my opinion, you still got a few basic things that are super important. You've got your depth. You can't have a hard pan in your arena, or a barrel horse can't make a turn without falling. And of course, moisture is extremely important. This ground today is actually just a little bit dry. If we were going to do a barrel race today, I want to put a little bit more moisture on it. The rule of thumb I look for, I want to be able to take dirt and make a ball out of it that'll hold together without falling apart, but I also still want to be able to crumble it. This ground, it would hold a horse up right now, but that's one thing I check is just the moisture in the ground. That's how I check it. Can I make a ball? And this ground is starting to get a little bit dry. All right, we're gonna change the adjustment on the front of the drag and show you the setting that we use to do a big drag. We're going to come in here and do a big drag in this arena and then sit back and finish it off. One thing I want to say, these style ripper points, if you cut only one way, you will have what I call cornrows in your arena. So it's important when you go into an extremely hard arena like this one, it is pretty hard today. I always cut this way and then cut the other way. So it's important to cross cut, and that will get rid of any rows that you have. And we'll show you kind of how we set that up and what we do with it. Okay, we've came back in and we've changed the angle on the front. We're getting ready to do a big drag. It actually took 6 turns on the top link on this tractor to get this angle that we wanted. So if I was at a barrel race, now I know, getting ready to do a big drag, I'll crank my top link 6 times, get the angle that I want, and drive. Dylan's on the tractor. I'm gonna get behind the camera and kind of walk with the drag. He's gonna go real slow and show you how the depth control works. Like I said, he's got his 3-point hitch on the back of the tractor. It is dropped all the way down into float mode. So he's not going to use his 3-point hitch to fight his depth. He's going to use the cylinder in the middle to control that depth. If you see that the drag is moving more dirt than you want to move, you can do 2 things. You can either adjust it with the cylinder, or if your angle is a little bit too steep, you'll know it's too steep because dirt will be piling up. So if you see dirt piling up real heavy in front of the drag, you know you've got this angle too steep. Just crank back out on your top link 1 or 2 turns and figure out that adjustment. It's pretty easy to set up. It's very easy to set up, but it's got a little bit of a learning curve compared to other drags that have been on the market. You know, one thing I want to stress, if you've ran other type of drags and you've already got an idea of how to run this one, you know, throw out in the back of your mind how you run other brands. This is a total new concept, and it runs totally different than other drags that are on the market. But Dylan's going to crank the tractor up. I'm going to grab the camera and kind of walk beside the drag, and we're going to go slow at first, and then we'll speed up later. You can notice the way he has the drag set right now, it's not moving an excessive amount of dirt, but at the setting that we've got it right now, it's still ripping about 7 to 8 inches deep where it's at right now. Okay, we've taken this drag, we've made a left to right cut in the arena. Now we're going to come back and make a front to back cut and show you how the ripping portion of it works. But the main thing we want to show is the depth control using the wheel. If you raise up and pull the wheel out of the ground, you're going to cut a lot deeper than you want to, and you can't control your depth that way. So it's very important to leave the rolling wheel on the ground, or the drag can load up too much on you. At this point, he's not moving more dirt than he wants to. But if he raises up on the wheel, the drag's going to get into the ground a lot deeper, and right now he's starting to move dirt. That's what we're trying to point out about using that wheel in the back for your depth control. Okay, we've cross-cut this arena. We cut it this way, and then we cut it back the other way to get rid of any of the rows in the bottom and to get a consistent base on the bottom. Now we've taken the top link, we've turned it back out, our 8 drags. Now we're set up and we're ready to do a finished drag. This arena still got some pretty good clods in it, and that it pulled up when we was doing the ripping. You can't finish that, you know, with the drag tilted over. So we got it tilted back, and Dylan's gonna make a few passes this way to show you how it finishes ground. One question that a lot of people, or a lot of statements I get, they say, I like your drag, but it won't move dirt. I can't fill back in holes if I need to fill in holes. This drag will move all the dirt you want to move, and Dylan's going to show that when he's making a few passes. If you raise up on the back of the wheel, this whole entire front frame, the center section and the front will load up with dirt. And so if you've got a low spot, you can load up that main frame, get to where your low spot is, take your hydraulic cylinder in the middle and push down, and you can actually feather that dirt in as you go. Dylan's going to crank the tractor, and I'm going to kind of walk with him and show you some of the passes that it makes. Okay, we've taken the drag and we've made two high spots in the arena. We've made one here and we made one right here. These humps are about 12 inches tall. More than anything you're going to deal with on a barrel pattern, but we want to show how you can take the drag over spots like this and you don't have to worry about it loading up on you. Dylan's on the tractor. He's going to run it pretty much wide open like you would in a barrel pattern and show you how it takes humps out of an arena. I hope you've enjoyed this video showing you how to operate the Drag Queen Arena drag. One thing I want to point out, these are our ripper points that go onto the front of the ripper shanks. If you see these starting to get wore out, these on this drag are starting to get pretty worn. You want to replace them to avoid wearing out your ripper shank. They bolt on with one 5/16 grade 8 bolt. If you're somebody that's doing a lot of barrel races or a lot of ropings, or you're doing this for a living, we do make an optional hardened plate that goes onto this. It's a AR 500 wear plate. That way you get a little bit more mileage out of these points. If you're somebody at home, just a standard set will probably last you a year, maybe more than that. If you've got any questions about our product, you can look us up online at metalfabllc.com. We're also on Facebook. Thank you. Hope you've enjoyed it.